There you are.
Well, would you look at that?
Yes.
You are.
Here I am.
Good deal.
Heck yeah. How you been, buddy?
I'm 100%.
I love it.
It was a little snowy today, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. And it was warm. Another good point.
Warm.
Warm. Well,
we're actually finally starting to get a little winter here in Minnesota.
Oh, well, it's
spoiled.
not a real winter here yet by any means. I think it's way milder than it usually is. But I'm not complaining on that. I mean,
No.
it is really nice to work outside, if you want to do anything out
Oh, yeah.
of course, for sure. So it's
For sure.
I mean, even if you want to go fishing, it's pleasant.
And I want to go fishing. I want to come up there and go fishing in the worst way, Robert. You know that. I miss that good cooking. I miss that those fun snowmobile rides out across the frozen lakes there. And man, nothing like chasing lake trout.
Yeah,
nothing like it.
And I looked at my calendar. You were here 10 months ago, as of this week.
Yeah, it was, and doggone it, if I almost thought I was still going to be there, Robert. I wasn't sure we were going to make her back.
No, and that was the big thing that morning. Can you get back across the border?
Yeah. Are we going to make her?
Yeah. So,
but we just headed out with blind faith that that the good old US of A was going to have us back, and I think they probably would have turned me around, but I had Dave Gens with me, and they're like, "Well, we got to get this guy back."
Yeah, no, he's pretty valuable.
They didn't want to give him up. Goodness.
No.
That was a good trip.
Yeah, it was fun. And, a lot of people don't realize, I guess, Thayen has come up in the past with Clam and Ice Team and stuff to help out and do what's got to be done to get everything to go. So this is my introduction, I guess, to the rest of my people here on my end. That if you have a problem, he's the guy I can call, and he can make it happen.
Yeah, we'll find a way, won't we?
Yeah, no, and so it's cool to have friends in the fishing industry, and which I have a few of them now, and you're definitely one of them that I can call on any time and suggest, can you help me, make this work or whatever.
Absolutely. And I'm honored to be your friend, Robert. You're a good guy.
Well, thank you very much. I'll pay you later for that.
Perfect. Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, so
I won't tell Rebecca.
Well, exactly. We'll just keep that down low. And so, and when the border closed, you guys were our last group of the year, and we now knowing about it, I wish we could have got you to stay a few more days and hung out. We could have caught a few more fish, and just.
Oh man.
It would have been a fun time, I think, for a few more days, for sure. And then it would have been the whole, we probably should try to get across kind of deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dave and I wondered, we were like, what's this really going to look like? And the funny part is, they really didn't want to talk to us at the border a whole lot. It was kind of like,
yeah,
you got this, you got that. Okay. Welcome home. Like I said, there was such a big, we'll call it scare on the front end. There was just so much unknown.
Yeah, a lot of unknown.
This whole deal that you just, in a short order, we learned a ton more and realized, that maybe it wasn't quite as, it's not good. It's certainly very bad, but what we were predicting and what people were preparing for on that front end was not good.
Well, I mean, there was people rushing to the stores for toilet paper. That. Yeah.
I came home to that nightmare. It actually, trying to remember. So we had taken a trip in early November, my wife and I, to Cabo for our 25th wedding anniversary. Parents were watching the dog. I phoned home and I said, hey, I said, how's things? You know, I'm hearing some stuff. How we sitting on toilet paper? And my mother, she's like, are you kidding me? You're not buying. I said, I'm not buying into anything. I just don't know how we're sitting. And lo and behold, it got a little dicey there for a while. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I go look in there. I'm like, ooh, but yeah, no, yeah, things got silly for a bit.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, and so we've fished together a few times on the lake. We've hung out, you know, at that St. Paul Ace Fishing Show. We've hung out, you know, at Clam also. Over the years when you came up, we've targeted lake trout, which I target quite a bit, and then we go do some crappie or perch or whatever on top of it. You know, with the group that we have come up and the winners and whatnot, we've also had, you know, some of the other team members come up. You know, maybe we've done some fishing and maybe they've caught fish and maybe they've caught a musky. Is there a story about?
So yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, we come up and we generally target lake trout, you know, and then we'll sneak off and maybe catch some crappies and and I remember what you're alluding to. Our graphic designer, art director, Brian, was up there on the first time I was up there, the first trip, and it was brutal cold. And the last morning, I think we woke up to like 28 below zero or something. And we decided we were heading out one last half day, couple hours, gonna go get Brian a Laker. And we go to this spot and you know the story, Robert, but I'm going to tell it like I'm speaking to your audience. We get to the spot and we're fishing along, and Brian hollers, "Fish on!" So in typical Robert fashion, I mean, that's like when the gun goes off at a track race. You're running over to him to help out. Everybody else is going over there. Me personally, I'm thinking to myself, thank God he's going to catch one, because it's an awful long ride back to Minneapolis with a grumpy art director, right? So he's tied into this fish and he's fighting it for a bit, and all of a sudden it just is not moving. And he's like, well, I don't know. It must be wrapped around a rock. It must be this. It must be that. And I mean, he's like trying this and trying that. And pretty soon I don't know if you recall, he throws his rod on the ground. Yep. And like, doggone it. And he's like, it must have wrapped me around a rock. He's like, he's seen it absolutely crushed the bait and just peeled off 30 yards of line. Must have wrapped. He's like, must have been a musky. Must have been a musky. And we're kind of like, well, yeah, you know, we're kind of in an area where a musky could live. And you're like, it's not outside the realm of possibility. And lo and behold, he picks the rod up off the ground and he's sitting there and he starts reeling, and sure as shooting, there's doggone fish on the end, and he ends up landing the lake trout. But the best, we said we were making T-shirts, Robert, that says "must have been a muskie."
Yeah, and there possibly could be here in the near future. If you see me with in an episode down the road where it says it must have been a muskie. We won't really even talk about it, but you'll know, kind of deal.
You'll know. Well, yeah, I'm a 2X if that happens. So, I love it.
And it wasn't that Brian didn't, and you guys a lot of times don't do a lot of fishing on that trip. I mean, you do some fishing, but I mean, that was kind of the deal that we want to make sure that our guests are well taken care of. And so a lot of times you don't get, or Brian, or, you know, or our pros, other pros that come don't get a lot of, you know, hands-on fishing. So sometimes we get to do this on this, you know, a quick little trip out, you know, to.
Yep, for sure. Yep. That was a real quick last minute, the morning we were leaving and the guests had already left. But you're right. Yeah. Our main focus, Robert, on that. And first of all, I just want to thank you on behalf of, you know, Ice Team and Clam for the giveaway that you do and including us in that. It's truly, it's become a very, very cherished trip of mine to come up and spend time with you and Rebecca and Punch and hang out and, help out and just, it's super cool to introduce some of these, these folks that haven't experienced fishing like you do in your area of Lake of the Woods. And you
Yeah.
take very good care of them.
Yeah, well, I
So
appreciate that.
thank you for that. And yeah, we spend our, it's about them at that point. I mean, like I said, yes, we're there to help. We do some fishing alongside those folks. But if you recall last year's trip, goodness gracious, it was on from the minute we started. I mean, I was showing a gentleman how to use a Vexilar, and I'm like, yeah, like that mark right there, reel. You know what I mean? It's like you're trying to explain how to use the equipment, and then all of a sudden there's a fish on the screen.
Yeah, no, and that's I guess makes my world really easy, to take people out, because the fish, there's a lot of fish, and they're, it seems like it's a very unique area, that we're set up with a lot of, a lot of opportunities that way.
For sure. Yeah.
And like, and we had talked that you wanted to come up on just on your own, and maybe bring your wife with, and just have a go at ice fishing trip kind of deal. And when the border opens, we're gonna have to get together.
Oh, buddy, that's happening. Yep. That will absolutely have to happen. I mean, I've been getting my wife primed for it. She's not a huge cold weather gal, but I'm confident we can keep her warm. We've got enough equipment here that, and she's got her stuff. So she usually grants me one outing a year. So one of these years very soon, we're gonna make it the best outing, and hopefully I can get her hooked.
I think so. I mean, it's with the equipment that when you're warm and all that stuff, then it makes especially if you're not a cold weather person, be warm and comfortable. Well, then fishing will take care of itself, in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Brings me back to this being the 40th anniversary of the fish trap that Dave Gens invented back in 1980 there. By golly, we did a kind of a media event here at Clam Outdoors, and his daughter Kathy mentioned, Dad always told us there's no such thing as what did he say? No such thing as cold weather, just cold clothes. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah, no, 100%. So
yeah.
Well, I thank you, Thane, for coming on today.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's my pleasure.
I wanted to talk to some people that do ice fishing, that have been up here ice fishing, because it's ice fishing season, and
absolutely.
I have a lot of groups, that I'm chatting with, but this time of the season, in a way, I should kind of talk about ice fishing. I mean, I get to go out and I've been chasing a few fish here with the family. Unfortunately, we're kind of on a lockdown situation where I can't guide anybody, but it's still fun to go out and catch a few fish, with your family.
You got to keep your skills sharp, Robert.
Yes, that.
I mean, you don't want to get caught slipping.
No.
Well, makers will take you for a ride.
That's for sure. So,
it is a unique area, and it's a unique style of fishing, and I think that's what I love about it so much. I mean, a lot of folks think, oh, you working for an ice fishing company, you must fish all the time. Well, the truth is, I fish a lot, but I don't fish as much as I want to. I mean, we'd fish all day if we could, right? Yep. It's all day, every day. And like I said, your experience up there that you're able to provide for your guests is certainly a very unique one, and very fun, and I can't get enough of it.
No, and I guess I didn't realize it's not the same everywhere. I'm small-minded, thinking that you just go out and catch fish wherever. But we do a lot of traveling here, where you get on the snow, and see stuff besides the fish part.
And that's the different piece, I think, that you have, with the ability to portage, and and certainly you can make long runs here in the States. I mean, you could go to, Green Bay and run for quite a while. But in your area, Robert, you're going around islands. I'd be lost if you were to leave us out there. I'd still be out there stuck wandering around. everything looks the same. You know, it's pine trees, it's rocks, it's islands. You know, it's just really nice and secluded, peaceful.
Yeah,
And the
a lot
eagle.
of, yeah, and a lot of people have made it, you know, or suggested it. It's almost like the Boundary Waters on the Minnesota
Hmm.
side. It has that
Hmm.
feel to it, I guess.
Hmm.
And we don't have a lot of traffic going by, so you don't see a lot of other people out on the lake. Also, so it's kind of unique in that respect. Also, I guess. Kind of,
Absolutely, absolutely.
um, but like a lot of
And you
things. Go ahead.
got some nice fish.
Well,
You got some nice
that
fish
helps.
up there.
That helps too.
I just want to know where the walleyes go in the winter.
I don't know either.
Yeah, yeah. That's your story.
I I don't know what is this walleye you talk about?
Yeah. What is this you speak of, the walleye? No, you know what? We have so much fun catching everything else, but yeah, it's the crappies. They're so much fun. They're beautiful. That beautiful dark golden color. Um, yeah. Remember the lake trout double the first year I was there? The young
Yep,
man and his father,
yep.
like, yeah, hooked up, and he caught a fish. The father hooked the fish every time his son was hooked up. That was crazy.
It was, and
Remember that?
we were trying to do a live feed, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, that just, you
Yeah.
know, wait, somebody's gonna help him because we're trying to do a live feed. You know, there's two fish on. You
Yeah,
know,
it was crazy. It was too much fun, I think.
so
Oh, fun stuff.
no,
Sure.
and it's kind of, you never know what's gonna happen kind of deal. So that's I enjoy that part of it. And well, you got another broadcast later tonight, I hear.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of time and chatting with me today. And
My pleasure.
we're gonna get together, and we're gonna go for the lake trout, and we'll hang out and whatnot too.
Lake trout, some mint Oreos. What am I missing?
Some kind
Crown
of,
Royal?
well, yeah, that's a pretty good deal too. I don't think that's a bad situation.
I'm just trying to figure out what I'm missing. You know, I mean, that's really all a guy needs, right?
Not much more.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Thane, again. You
You're
guys
very
take care down
welcome.
there, and
Absolutely.
we'll chat again. Have a good
All
one.
right. You be well up there, and man, I hope to see you very, very soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.